Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. This webinar is about how to save time and get organized with systems. It's so important. It's impossible to grow your business without having those like systems and processes in place. It's just impossible. I know I just said that like you won't be as profitable, you won't be able to provide as high quality of service, you'll be working like long hours. Like having those systems and processes in place is going to save you time, help you provide deliver better quality service, help you be more profitable. It is a win-win, like less stress, just so many benefits. In this webinar, I'm going to give you multiple tips and, about how to be better, how to change that, how to really grow your business. Some housekeeping. If you have any questions during the presentation, type them into the chat box and we will answer them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A. So I'll be answering those at the end in the Q&A. We also have Natalie with us today. She's helping people in, and if you have any technical problems, she's here and she can help you. She'll also be monitoring the chat box. On a scale from 1 to 10, how overwhelmed are you feeling right now with your business? How overwhelmed? Are you exhausted from doing everything and having limited time to focus on what you do best? Really, like, you guys are designers, think about your business, think about if you were spending most of your time designing, what amazing results you would be getting for your clients, how you could grow your revenue, how happy you would be. It's just such a win-win. How many more projects could you deliver if you had better systems in place? How many? Having systems in place such as software automations, templates, and integrations will save you time, help you get more done, and create a better client experience. And I think this is super important because also to be as profitable as possible, think about if you're going to hire an assistant to help you, or if you're even doing it yourself, having software automations doing, a lot of the work, some of the simpler tasks, is going to free up time for you, for an assistant, for an employee, anybody on your team, not just you. And then having templates in place, having integrations, so software's talking between one system and the other. That is how you grow. When I'm thinking a process needs to be better, I'm first thinking, can we automate something? Can we make a template out of it? Can we set up some type of integration that's going to save time? Doing those things first before you actually hire somebody, or before you're doing it manually. If you're doing something manually over and over, maybe that can be done better. Especially if it's custom every time, can it be made into a template? Can we automate it? Can we set up an integration? If even contact information from one system to the next, can waste a lot of time. You can get your time back. today's agenda, we're going to talk about marketing systems, sales systems, operations, finances. We follow a book called Traction, and Traction breaks up a company into these 4 buckets: marketing, sales, operations, finances. So when I'm looking at my business or other people's businesses and talking with them, I'm reviewing everything like, is it a marketing problem? Is it a sales problem, operations, or finances? What bucket is it? What systems, what software, what needs to be implemented that could improve that bucket, right? That's what I'm always looking at. What should I focus on? What, if I improve that one bucket, how is that going to impact the rest of my business? And then we're going to also talk about your superpowers and what energizes you. So where should you be spending your time? I know Natalie is going to put in chat a link to sign up for our free brand website and SEO audit. If you haven't taken advantage of that, definitely sign up. I try to give you a lot of clarity into what is working, what is not working with your website, with your SEO, your online brand. It can really, be helpful. So think about work smarter, not harder, with software, automations, frameworks, templates, and integrations. This is super important, and I'm going to give you like a bunch of examples just so you can kind of start thinking about what the possibilities are. And I can tell you that what typically happens, especially when somebody is working with us ongoing, like maybe they're working with us monthly, our team is meeting with them monthly, and they're talking about the problems that they're having in their business. And one of our team members will say, oh, we can automate that, or we can set up a framework, or we could set up a template, or we can set up an integration so you don't have to do that, and it would make it easier. Like maybe you still have to do it, but maybe it's, 50 to 75% easier. Like that would still make an impact. But most of the time, like the clients don't even know that there's an automation that could be set up, or an integration, or think about a template, right? So I'm in this webinar, I'm just kind of educating you on things that can be done, that can save time, that can be more efficient. And here again, grow your business by building systems. So marketing, sales, operations, finances. Every quarter, when we are doing planning, and even yearly, when we're doing planning, we're looking at these 4 buckets. And we actually rate these 4 buckets from 1 to 10. Like, where are you at with your marketing? Where are you at with your sales? Where are you at with your operations? Where are you at with your finances? Like, if you're, operations is at a 10, but maybe your sales or finances or even marketing is at a 2, right? You need to be focused on how you can improve that number. So when the next quarter, the next year, you have a higher score, right? So as, your business grows, you start getting higher numbers in all these 4 buckets. That's what I want to see. That's how you're going to grow. But knowing which one is the one that is the biggest problem at the moment will let you know what you need to focus on for the moment. Because trying to do all 4 of them at once is going to be too difficult. Focusing on one at a time helps, you build momentum and will help you get more done and you'll pick up more traction. So let's look at some, thoughts on like marketing and how you can be more efficient. So one is create content by dictating notes into an app. Think about if you're at a client's, maybe you're meeting with the contractors, you're working on a kitchen, you came up with some unique way to solve problems, or it's a problem that is in a kitchen. Maybe it's about space planning that typically comes up over and over and people don't really think about it, but it would be a good moment to educate your clients on what not to do or what to do, or maybe even new products. Think about when you're at that meeting, when you go into your car, pulling up your phone, and there's multiple apps where you can talk into your phone and it actually types it out. So there's Slack, Notability, Notes. There's so many apps that you could get. Try some of them out on your phone. So you could go to your car after the meeting, bring up your phone, turn on the mic right here and just talk into the phone, and it's going to type out your notes. Your notes don't have to be perfect. And those notes you could send to your marketing team, you could send to your VA, you could send to an employee, one of your team members about the project, but think about if you're taking just notes and outline, you could also take some pictures, and then, you have some great content that you can use for your marketing, and you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. Create content using assets you already have. So you probably have like a process checklist, product samples, new trends, client stories. Think about what you already have and sharing that knowledge, new trends. Maybe you're working with a client, picking out some new products and there's some new trends and you're really excited about that. That could be a story. You could, again, take out your phone, use one of those apps, talk into it, take some photos, and, you can send those to somebody to clean them up and get ready for like some social media posts. Create content in blocks of time. So when I hear people say, oh, I know I should be on social media every day, I'm thinking, no, you shouldn't be on social media every day. Like, to think that you're going to sit down and write a post every single day and post it into social media is not the best use of time. Like, with any type of work, using time blocks on your calendar is the best use of time. So blocking off on Friday, maybe a few hours, every few weeks to create content or, work on your business is the best use of your time. And then have a system for organizing your files. So I know one thing that, takes a lot of time, if we have a client and they haven't organized their photos, then that could take a lot of time going back and forth. So be as organized as you can. One of the ways is to have like a system, like it could be in Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, where you have, a folder system. So you have the main folder, client folders, you have before and after photos, contracts, proposal, you have internal folders, and things are really organized. It's also super helpful if you name your images, your photos. I know that takes a little bit of extra time, but it will help whoever's helping you, like with the images, if you're not doing them yourself, or start building a library and organizing it. Use social media scheduling software. There's multiple different ones. There's Loomly, Hootsuite, Tailwind. I know our CRM software, High Level, is also going to be an option pretty soon, but use software that post the content. Don't think that you need to be scheduling it by hand. That also can save a ton of time. So if you sit down and you're, working on it for several hours, you could have those all posted out and feel really good about that. Even if you're having somebody else help you and you're not doing it, like if they're more efficient, then they're going to have more time for other things. And they're also, it's going to be, more cost effective to be organized. This is another big one that I think is so simple. Book leads using online calendar software. I can't tell you how much time I used to spend going back and forth with people on, when are you free? Are you free this time or this time? And going back and forth takes so much time, and you can lose people, so having that online calendar is so much more efficient. And these days you do have full control over when you're available, what type of appointment you're going to let people book. Maybe it's just a 15-minute phone call, not, an in-person consultation, right? So you do have full control over your calendars these days. There's multiple options. I know our CRM software, High Level, has amazing calendars with automations. And then there's also software like Calendly, which, the expense, I know a lot of times people want to keep their software expenses down. I think of it this way, like, is that going to cost my business less to have that expense of the software? So I or my VA or whoever can actually be working on other things, like for the time that it takes, right? They would be so much more efficient. So I highly recommend having online calendar software. The other advantage that I want to talk about is, think about when your clients are looking for somebody. So, they're maybe working during the week, and they might be looking for a designer in the evenings. They might be looking for designers like on the weekends when you're not available, right? You don't want to be available during those times. So, having an online calendar on your website makes it easier for them to have a conversation with you. I'm not talking about, they can book like an in-person appointment without you having a conversation. I'm talking about maybe a 15-minute qualification call to see if they're a good fit. But if they come to your website and they see an online calendar, and maybe it's a husband and wife, and they can talk about when they're free, they can book an appointment with you, they're going to know that that's checked off their list, and they're going to stop looking. And there's so many, there's a lot of data that says that if you're the first company to have a conversation, a sales conversation with somebody, the percentage, like the chance of them working with you is much, much higher. So from a sales perspective, you know, having an online calendar, I feel like, you know, you're going to get more appointments because it's going to be easier for them to contact you, and it's going to save you time. There's a lot of benefits. And then having automated appointment reminders is also super efficient. So really making sure, you know, that people are going to show up, like what for us and for our clients, you know, when somebody books an appointment using the online calendar, in our high level software that we set up for people, it will send them, you know, an email and a text message saying, thank you for booking a meeting. And then they'll also get a reminder like the day before, and then like an hour before, or you could, you know, we can set it up however we want to set it up. But the chance of somebody showing up to that appointment is much, much higher than before. We used to, you know, before we didn't have the ability to have an automation like this. And so we didn't have as many people show up. People get busy and they forget. So having those appointment reminders are super important. Especially I want to talk about the text message reminders. So the response that we get from text messages is much higher than emails. They're still both important, but having a system in place that sends those reminders is really important and works really well. It also can save you time. Like, you know, if you get all ready for a meeting and, you know, you put all this work into a meeting and then somebody, you know, doesn't show up, that's a big waste of your time. Whereas if there's reminders, it still could happen, but there's a much higher percentage chance that they're going to text you back saying, oh, can we reschedule? You know, maybe that's going to happen the day before. Sales. So manage your contacts with the CRM software. So I know there's a lot of people that aren't creating a list. You know, they're not building a list. They're not following up with people. There's definitely building a list and following up with people. You know, there's work there. There's projects there that you could be getting if you're doing that. If you're building that list, following up with people. People, again, get busy, and sometimes, you know, they might contact you, then they might get busy and not start their project. You know, not staying in front of them, they might end up working with somebody else versus like staying in front of them, you know, communicating with them when they're ready. You have a better chance of them working with you if you're building that list. Use one tool for all your communication. So I love this, like communicating using one tool, because then you're not like looking all over. So like I said, I mean, there is a lot of different software options. I'm mentioning high-level CRM software because that's my favorite. Because it does text message, email messages, and email marketing messages. Like you can see every conversation that you're having with somebody, which I really like. But when you're looking at all different systems, that also takes more time. So that's why I wanted to share it with you, because it does save a lot of time. And also, you know, think about if you have more than one people, like if you have team members that are working on the same project and everybody can log into the same software and see the conversation that's going on, instead of it being like, you know, on one phone and then another one on, you know, the client's communicating with somebody else on another phone, you know, it gets a little confusing. Store custom information in your CRM. So having a CRM, which is a contact management system software, like it always has fields of, you know, that like name, you know, first name, last name, address, email, phone number, all of those are really typical, right? But in really every CRM, there also is the ability to put in custom information. So if you have information that you want to collect on like your website form and you want that to go into your CRM, you know, that you can start creating, like collecting that custom information. Use a sales pipeline in your CRM. So a sales pipeline is, you know, a list of all the people that are in the different stages of your project. And this is just a basic one. It can be whatever you want, but like I personally have like different stages of the sales pipelines. I have like some automations going. So like if I need to follow up with somebody, or, you know, if there's an appointment that would be made, like you can set up automations based on what part of the sales pipeline they're in. So for example, like let's say they just became a new client and you want them to have like certain onboarding, like emails, certain information at, you know, certain times. That can all be like automated. So you don't have to be doing that all by hand. There's absolutely some stuff you need to be doing by hand, but there's a lot of stuff. If you're building your business correctly, you want to have like this, you know, a set process that you do at every stage. You can be automating some of that. That can be a massive time saver. Use one-off email templates. These can also be huge time savers. Like for example, in our software, we can make custom calendars. So like I have different calendar for different things. Like I'll have a 30-minute calendar, you know, I have like a 1-hour calendar, you know, if I'm giving a proposal, I have a 2-hour calendar if I'm working on a logo with somebody. So I have different types of calendars that have different settings. You can customize them. Each one has a link, right? So then I have one-off email templates that I can select. So I can select like, hey, I want to send somebody a link to book a 40-minute appointment. I can bring up that template and, you know, maybe I want to change a little bit of the text, but it is like 90% of the way there. And the link to my calendar and everything is in there. So I don't have to go find that, you know, it's all there. I can send it to somebody, then they can book an appointment super easy. Use an email template to get Google reviews. So if you're just telling people to like, can you give me a Google review? It's kind of hard for people to figure out how to give a Google review. You know, especially, I think no matter what age you are, like it is, I mean, younger people are a little bit more technical, but it is hard to get Google reviews because people are confused about how to even get there. Where do I go to give you a review? You know, they don't know. And think about like if you have a template, giving them some tips about what to write and how to give you a better review, then that can be super helpful, because when somebody reads your Google reviews, you want it to be like a lot of value. So giving them tips and giving them a link in, having that email template like ready to go, so it can just be sent. You could even have that automated if you wanted to. So the job's completed, they get put in the completed part of the sales pipeline, and then this email goes out. Create one-off text message templates. This is also a possibility. And it's really nice that it can use tags for the first name and stuff like that. I actually use this one a lot. If somebody contacts me, or I'm contacting somebody for the first time, they have no idea who I am, or they might forget, like, who is this text message from? So I might want to introduce myself so they're not thinking like I'm some spammer. I'll just select my template that's like, hi, and then it fills in the first name. This is Debra from, Home Designer Marketing. And then I can write my message like right after it. I'm just following up with you about blah, 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 whatever, right? So, but it gets me like 50% of the way there, saves a little bit of time every single time. I don't have to think about, what am I going to write? Like, every time you're like writing something, think about, is this something that I typically like have? Typically in a project, you're going to have the same type of conversations, right? Same type of questions, oh, the contractor will be working on this today, blah, blah, blah. Like, make sure you, I don't know, whatever that conversation is, that you need to communicate with them, then having that template can really help. Send and schedule messages to multiple contacts. In some software, it is possible to like select multiple people. It's not going to send like a text message that everybody can see everybody. Actually sends separate emails or text messages. But you can, like, if you have several people you're trying to follow up with, or you can send it all at once to a group of people. I'm just following up with you to see if you're still interested in, to get an update on your project. Let's say you have a bunch of people that you need to follow up with. You could do that all at once. It is possible. Create a sales deck. So if you don't have a sales presentation and you're just winging it, it's not looking as professional as having some type of presentation. So having some type of presentation just looks so much more professional, and definitely will build more authority and trust. Operations, let's see. So use a project management software. There's too many things. Like, if you're thinking that you need to remember everything you're doing, it's just impossible. There's too many tasks. Having a place where you can have a checklist is super important. Keep your team connected with Slack. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Slack before. You can, invite like other people to your Slack channel. We personally use it just for our internal team. It's kind of like, I always think of it as text messaging on steroids, because it, you can send a text, you can, put links, screenshots, whatever in Slack. We like to have ours set up a certain way. It's amazing software. It's super inexpensive. Highly recommend it. What we do for our channels is we set up some channel, like we have a channel for each client. So that way, if there's like something going on with the client, we can send a message to one of our other team members, you know, like let's say we need to let them know that they contacted me and they asked a question and I need to like ask one of the other team members to get the answer, you know, I can put it in their channel and then the other person will see it and respond to me. And it's really nice because at any time I can click on their channel and then I can see what past conversations have been, you know, happening. So if I wanted to review that, or I want to see what other people on our team are like talking about, I can go there. It is not a project management tool. It is more of a internal team like communication. So if it is a task that needs to be completed, then I'll put it in the project management tool. If it is something that I need a response right away, then like maybe I'm sending Ashley or Natalie like a message and I need to know like right away the answer, because maybe I'm in a meeting with the client and they're asking me something and I need their answer. I'll put it in here and that way I could get an answer really fast. Document all your processes in an index. So like we have a Google Doc that's called Process Index, and you know, you can make like a Loom video of the process. You could type the process out, but having one central location for all the processes is super helpful. As you grow, like you need to really get all those processes out of your head and get them into a system, like, and have a document that has all the processes. It's super important because like, let's say Ashley was sick and Natalie needed to take over some things, like unless you have those processes down, it would be impossible for her to like take over some of the tasks. But if those processes are down, then she can look at the process index and, you know, figure out what she needs to learn, maybe watch a short video and be able to do that. It's super important. I know another agency, pretty large agency, where like she had an emergency in her family and she was, you know, at a moment's notice, was like off work for a month, and her team members were able to stay, like follow up on all her, step in on all her jobs, because she had her processes all organized. So I remember her telling me that story and it was super impressive. Asana is more like, yeah, it's different. Slack is, it's more like an app it's like text messaging. So it's not something where you would be like project management. It's not, you would not be, you know, talking to your clients over Slack typically. I mean, some people invite their clients, but we don't. We just use it internally. Think of it as like internal communication that's so much faster than sending somebody an email or calling them. So, and if you're trying to, you know, use your phone to text message, like let's say, you know, you have certain contractors you work with all the time and you're text messaging them. The problem is maybe other people on your team can't see that text message, and, you know, or other people working on the project. It's almost like, you know, you can always look at Slack, look at that channel and see all the conversations. You could, it's super inexpensive. Definitely watch a couple of videos online about it. And there'll be a lot of videos, I'm sure, just on how to use it. Create client intake forms. So, think about collecting information more efficiently. Like if you could collect some of the information over intake forms and then have it ready so you could review it before you have a meeting with them, your meeting with them can be a lot more efficient. So for example, when we have our strategy meetings, we have a client like questionnaire that we have them answer. And like, I don't expect the questionnaire to get, all the information, but definitely it's gonna get us over 50% of the way there, right? Now our conversation can be more efficient. We can talk about we can go more in depth because we have the basic information. We're not wasting the client's time just getting the basic information. We're more educated about what we should be talking about. So use client one-off email templates. I know I talked about using this with text messaging and everything like that, but with marketing and sales, using those one-off templates, but also, when you're working with clients when you're working on a project, have email templates, text message templates. Let's talk about finances. So create templates with proposal software. I'm a huge fan of that. You shouldn't be spending tons of time like creating a custom proposal every time. Kind of try to come up with systems and software that you can, we use a software, Proposal-Fi. There's a lot of softwares out there, so there's a lot of them, but it can be branded, it can look really nice. You can create like different sections that you could pull into the proposal. They also can, a lot of software, they can sign online. I love that feature. They sign online and they can even pay online. Integrate your CRM and bookkeeping software. So get, integrations is about having one software send information to the other software. So for example, like when somebody, I just want you guys to understand like how much time it can save. When somebody books an appointment with me, then like the high level software will look at my calendar, my Google Calendar, see if I'm available, offer only the times that I have selected that are available and that aren't blocked from other meetings. So it'll do that. Then when somebody schedules the appointment, then it automatically puts the Zoom link into my Google Calendar. So I don't have, and sends the client calendar invite, and then it also takes that Zoom link and puts it into an appointment reminder email, an appointment reminder text message, sends those out to the client. Then the system is also set up to tag the contacts information in the high level software, tag it for our bookkeeping software. The information is sent over to the bookkeeping software, so I don't have to type it in. And then it also will send a task over to our project management software. There's a lot of different ones. We use ClickUp, and we'll send it over there, make a task, and put that task on my Google Calendar. So I have the meeting, with the automations, the appointment reminders, the information in my bookkeeping, like all of that would have taken me maybe 20 minutes to set up, and it's all automated, right? So it can be crazy like that. Let's talk about your superpower. I'm a huge fan of superpowers. So identifying what energizes you. Think about operations, sales, marketing, finances, the 4 buckets. You can even like do this exercise on your own. Write down all the things you're doing for operations, all the things you're doing for sales, marketing, finances. List. Do you love it? Are you good at it? Do you love it? You're okay at it? You love it? You're not good at it? Like you probably shouldn't be doing it, right? You hate it? You're good at it? You hate it? You're okay? You hate it and you're not good. Like you shouldn't be doing this stuff, right? So if you look here, maybe you hate finances and you're okay at it, but you're not great at it. What if that time was spent over here? Could you automate or have software or have a team? Like the team is going to be the highest investment, right? So I would like, even if I need to get a team on board, having systems and processes and integrations set up and templates is going to make it so maybe the investment is 50% of what it could be if you didn't have those things set up, right? So think about, can I automate this? Can I set up integrations? Can I set up templates? After all that's done, like for example, for our finances, this was years ago, I set up all these integrations and software. So it automates so much of it. I still have a bookkeeper, I still have a CPA, and I still do some of the finances. But absolutely, like I cut out a lot of wasted time, wasted tasks that were being done. So it's so much more efficient and less expensive, right? I brought the cost way down by having that combo. Yes, there is some software, but to have people manually doing it was so much more. So think about like where you're at here. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. Again, I'm Debra Scarpa. Right next to me is Ashley Blazing, and we have Natalie here who's been helping out. Thank you so much, Natalie. If you haven't already signed up for our free brand website and SEO audit, there's a link in the chat. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope this information was super helpful. It's definitely the #1 way to grow your business is being more efficient, saving time, having those automations set up. I'm super passionate about it. For one, I hate doing like little tasks all the time that are wasting my time. I don't know, I just get kind of, I want to work as efficient as possible. And there's already so much to do. Like, I just don't have the time. I'm sure you're the same. Don't have the time to be doing all this extra stuff that could be done so much more efficiently. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. If you have any questions for me, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll stick around for a moment and see if anybody has questions. But I sure hope that this was helpful. I think, yeah, we will be sending out a recording. We'll also be sending out a certificate for the CEU credits. So we'll be sending that out with the recording. Thank you so much, everybody, and Have a wonderful time. Okay. Bye.